Okay, I am going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, everyone. We're excited to have you and have a great conversation about how LEGO Education Solutions can support summer learning. And today we're particularly talking about enrichment and all of the great ways that our solutions can fit in the enrichment space during the summer. So to get started with an agenda, we'll start with some introductions, myself and my teammates, and then we're going to talk about curriculum themes and ideas for summer using LEGO Education Solutions. We'll then move into looking at the actual products that support that curriculum, and then we'll round out with questions and some guidance around if you're interested in moving forward, who you can connect with and what those steps look like. So the first thing that I'd like to start with is our mission. LEGO Education's mission is to inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow, enabling every student to succeed. So this is a really core part of who we are and what differentiates us from our colleagues over in the retail space. We use that same exact LEGO brick as the medium, but our solutions are designed to support learning in the classrooms, at home, or wherever learning takes place, and to give students an opportunity to learn through hands-on learning and through play. So to introduce the LEGO Education Texas team, my name is Lauren Russ. I am one of your LEGO Education account managers. Specifically, I work with districts that are on the medium to smaller side, so districts that are less than 1,000 students. My colleague on the call, Stephanie Chaplowski, works with private and parochial schools. Carrie Aviles also works in the El Paso area, and Dr. Caitlin Boline is our solution architect across the state of Texas. Not on the call this morning are Kim Kiesnick and Allison Bobbitt. However, they are wonderful and vital parts of our team. Kim works with Houston, South Texas, and West Texas, and Allison works in the DFW area as well as Central Texas. So we have a big team. It's a big state, and so we have lots of people that are here to support you and excited to work with you and ensure that we can bring hands-on learning to your schools and districts. So I actually want to start with a quote from one of your colleagues in the state of Texas, Daniel over at McKinney ISD. He is a STEAM teacher that uses our solutions, and we'll be hearing from him momentarily in a video. But I think a great quote from him really speaks to the question of why LEGO Education. And it's because it brings in a level of engagement for your students that allows learning to occur at any point. And that hands-on learning is really crucial for engaging students, getting them excited, and allowing them opportunities to have both memorable and meaningful learning experiences. So next, I'm actually going to show a video featuring some teachers that use our LEGO Education Solutions in their classrooms. And they're going to be speaking to the question of what does LEGO Education mean for students and teachers. Bear with me. I think that the audio on this video is a little bit on the low side, so I hope that you're able to hear it okay.
All right, so we are rolling with cameras. Describe what LEGO education means to you or your students and action when you are ready.
Engagement,
Innovation,
future ready skills,
curiosity,
creativity,
problem solving,
motivating,
student-centered learning. LEGO education has changed the way I feel about teaching tremendously. Before, I was just doing the regular teacher stuff right out the book. When I introduced the Lego bricks, a lot of lights turned on in the classroom. Instead of me pushing information to them, they're pulling from me and they want more.
They teach me watching them, and it makes me come back with new eyes and a new list of things I want to try.
hands-on playful learning is everything to me. Utilizing the LEGO education kits has them learning in a impactful way.
They are able to equitably access content, and it just levels the playing field for the entire class.
They are so interested in what they can do with it. They are constantly re-engineering and rethinking.
I have been rejuvenated as a teacher, being able to see what my students are able to accomplish.
Everybody wants to participate. They want to help show others. They're ready to become true leaders in the classroom and in the community.
LEGO education has definitely brought more inclusivity. We want to meet students where they are because not all students learn the same way.
Anything else that you would like to say about LEGO education?
Ultimately, LEGO education is just pure fun.
Definitely a game changer.
Makes learning fun for them.
Total joy.
It'll help your students grow.
It's fun for the students, it's fun for myself. It's just a really enjoyable time.
And that's really what learning should be all about.
I love hearing from those teachers that use these solutions as part of their classroom teaching, whether that's core classes, electives, or after school, summer school. Some of the words that jumped out to me as they were reflecting on those experiences: inclusivity, equity, fun, participation, problem solving. Really, there's such a rich array of what they take away from the experience of using these solutions as part of their teaching. So lots of great takeaways there, and we'll revisit some comments from teachers and students as we move through the presentation. But for now, I am going to not play the video again. I'm going to segue into talking about how our solutions specifically support summer programs. So we're going to start at a high level talking about different structures, themes, and ideas for what summer programs could look like and where our solutions fit into that context. Once we've done that, we'll move into talking about the actual products and solutions. But we're going to start with structure. So in thinking about the daily structure of a summer program, there's lots of different ways that this might look. And some of these might be familiar to you. You may have experience doing this in your own school or district. And it might look completely different in your school or district. There's certainly no defined way to organize a summer program. But some of the most common ways that we hear are through sort of an integrated method of both academics and enrichment, a chunked out option where the morning might be dedicated to academics and the afternoon is dedicated to enrichment, or more of a camp style program where really the entire day is devoted to enrichment. It's not necessarily a summer school program, but more of a summer camp. And so we've really fit in all of these different places. Last week, my colleague, Dr. Caitlin Boline, was sharing ideas for where we can support the academic space and how our standards aligned solutions can really help to support the academic piece of it in helping get students up to grade level, focus on acceleration, perhaps learning loss if that's applicable. But today we're going to be focused on enrichment. And we can support both spaces, but the focus of today is enrichment. And if you want more information about how we can tie into that more academic space, that's absolutely a conversation that we can have with you one-on-one, with your one-on-one with your account manager. So to start off, we have several pre-built out-of-the-box summer camp programs that each center around a dedicated theme. So, for example, in the pre-K kindergarten space, the theme of that project is to build a theme park. Now, this is a unplugged project. There's no technology involved at the pre-KK level. Whereas when we enter into the elementary middle school space, that's where you have the option of either an unplugged theme or a tech-enabled theme, depending on which solution that you're using. And we'll get more into that as we go. But just know that at a high level, you have options to support both digitally oriented instruction as well as unplugged non-tech options. And they all focus on these different fun and exciting themes to help get students excited. With these programs, as I said, they're out of the box, they're all pre-written. We're going to actually take a look at an example of what one of these looks like, and this just serves as the basic template for what you could expect across all 5 of these options. Specifically, we're looking at the BrickUMotion summer camp lesson plans. So it starts with a program at a glance. This is something you can expect from all of the different summer camp offerings. It gives you a sort of high-level bird's eye view of what to expect each day of the camp. as well as a daily plan for, broken down to how much time to dedicate to each section, with things such as readings and wonderings, as well as those lesson challenges built in. And so with this would be a perfect fit for if you're doing a full day enrichment camp, or even afternoon. If you have sort of uninterrupted time where you're looking for a way to, from start to finish, have a out of the box plan that your teachers can implement as part of that day, this paces it out for you really easily. You can tailor it to whatever time constraints suit your program. And it's a really easy way to, from start to finish, have a plan for the day for all of the different activities and lessons that students will do. The nice thing about these is that it's not 100% Lego. So yes, you have those dedicated Lego lessons and activities that are, of course, built in throughout the day. But there's also those breaks for other types of engagement and activity, things like readings, wellness challenges, arts and crafts. And so it's not 100% Lego for, 4 hours endlessly, although I'm sure some students would be eager to do that. But it also breaks in, other opportunities for engagement and for hands-on activities. So with this option, again, these are product specific. Your account manager can work with you to determine if the better fit for your program is the unplugged option versus the digitally enhanced option. That's really going to depend on what you want students to get out of it. If you want them to have that opportunity to expand their skills and build their competencies in things like coding and digital literacy, or perhaps if you're more time constrained or have limited access to devices, the unplugged option might be the better fit. So that's something that your account manager can work with you on to make sure that you're selecting the choice that is the best fit for all of your needs. Moving on to some other options that we offer. We, in addition to our product-specific summer camp offerings, also have some really wonderful open-ended curricular choices. These are product agnostic, meaning you do not need one specific Lego education set to complete these different lessons and activities. Instead, they're intentionally open-ended and they are thematic, so that if you were to go with this option, it would give you the opportunity to design your summer program in a way that is centered around a particular theme. And we'll get into the details of each one of these, but at a very high level, we have Rebuild the World, Hannah's STEAM Heroes, Build to Launch in collaboration with NASA, and Build to Change, which actually has 3 different offerings, but all fall under the umbrella of Build to Change. Generally speaking, because these are product agnostic and they have a lot of built-in differentiation, there's a lot of flexibility in what grade levels these could be used for. In general, I would say Rebuild the World can be used anywhere from early elementary through middle school. Build to Change is dedicated primarily for elementary. And then Build to Launch, I would say, is best for upper elementary into middle. The reason being, there is some technical language in the Build to Launch curriculum because it is centered around space exploration that might just be a little bit advanced for the lower elementary students. And so it's definitely possible, but it might require some modifications by the teacher in order to make it work in lower elementary. But we will dig in further with some more details. So starting with Hannah's STEAM Heroes, a career toolkit. The focus of this curricular unit is to learn about how a diverse group of professionals use STEAM skills every day. So as part of this package, there are videos by professionals in lots of different fields and career paths. So you hear from them directly, and they're talking about how they use STEAM as part of their daily work. Then there are corresponding challenges, which you'll find in the teacher guide, as well as slides that you can use to facilitate the activity with students. And then finally, a focus on STEAM superpowers. And those featured careers are really interesting, really cool and diverse. Ocean advocacy, bee rescue, agriculture, food video production, storytelling, dance technology, and racing. So really all over the place, there's something for everybody. And I think that the core purpose here is to really showcase the fact that across all these different diverse career paths, STEAM is a really important skill set that shows up in lots of unexpected ways. And so having a really good foundation and having confidence in STEAM is something that really can set students up for success no matter what path they go down. This is an example of what one of those challenges looks like. So it's a 2-page lesson. This is sort of the teacher-facing view so that you have everything that you need in order to prepare and facilitate the lesson. This is actually, this little black box here is a link for the video. And so by clicking that, it pops out and you can show that 5 to 7 minute video to your students and get them inspired and get them excited thinking about all of the ways that STEAM connects to these different diverse career paths, such as bee rescue. And then on the second page, this is where they showcase the different challenge that is associated with that career path. So that is Hannah's STEAM Heroes, a career toolkit. Next, we're going to be moving on to Build to Launch, a STEAM exploration series. So this has been a really popular unit that starting from the time, I believe it was 2022, when the Artemis 1 mission was first underway at NASA. We collaborated with NASA to develop this program to help students put themselves in the shoes of NASA engineers and astronauts. And so really to get them thinking like scientists, get them thinking like engineers, and give them an opportunity to do applied learning in these different space exploration themed challenges. So as part of this program, again, there are videos that are meant to be student-facing videos that get them excited and that help to teach them different concepts about lunar exploration. There are corresponding challenges, there's a teacher guide, and there's career connections. So really the focus of this program is to practice different STEAM skills and STEAM practices, things like asking questions and defining problems, planning and executing investigations, developing and using models, meeting design constraints, testing and modifying designs, and communicating solutions. And you really see that with what this is featured from the teacher guide with the engineering design approach and the corresponding rubric. So you see here that this is really offered in detailed for the teacher to be able to facilitate these challenges. You understand start to finish the engineering design process, as well as a corresponding rubric for the teacher to be able to coach the students and give them opportunities to improve upon their learning. Next up is Build the Change. And I mentioned that there's actually 3 Build the Change courses. So really, if I wanted to make this presentation longer, I could dedicate 3 whole slides to each one of them, but we're going to talk about it in aggregate. The first is biodiversity and climate change. The second is human impact, saving today's dinosaurs being birds. And then the third is a future without waste. So all 3 of these are part of the umbrella of the Build the Change curricular offerings. They come with challenges, teacher guides, slides, and printable journals. And some of the key skills that students are engaging as part of this program are problem solving, speaking and listening, teamwork and collaboration, project-based learning, STEAM, and citizenship. And this is an example from that teacher guide of what it looks like for, facilitating these challenges. So immerse, create, share, and then you can kind of see the lesson plan breakdown of what to expect for each portion of the activity. Finally, and this wasn't featured on the original slide because it's a little bit unique from the others, but the final open-ended curricular offering that I want to talk to you about is actually in partnership with Tufts University. So the Tufts University Engineering Outreach Program has worked with us to develop over 140 different open-ended challenges, which they refer to as placemat activities. And these are designed to maximize solution diversity and foster student-driven learning. So what's really cool is that from this really expansive library of open-ended projects, you can actually sort by level and theme. You can sort by whether you want to do the programming in Scratch or Python. It provides example ideas, coding tips, and extension ideas. And because of this Scratch Python option, we do recommend the placemats generally for middle school and high school. We recommend Scratch Junior and Scratch for elementary. These placemats are a little bit higher level because they're open-ended. It does require students to think creatively and to come up with their own ideas for prototypes and then iterate on those prototypes to create improvements. Those are all things that are a little bit higher level, and so they absolutely could be adapted for elementary learners, but they're targeted more for middle school, high school. So that's why I'm rounding out here uh, with the option for some, for some of our older students at the middle school, high school level. What those placemats look like, this is an example of the front and back. They are printable if that's something that is of interest. Of course, you can access them digitally, but if you do want to have them printed for the students in advance, they just have this front and back, where as you can see, it talks about think like an engineer, think like a physicist. That's because this particular lesson has a science focus, but in some cases where the focus might be perhaps more art driven, it might be think like an artist. And then it offers some inspiration ideas that students can use as maybe a starting point to come up with their own creations. And then some tips around building and coding and ideas for differentiation and extension. So that is a walkthrough of the various curricular options that we have for summer, starting from that out of the box product specific summer camp model, all the way to very open-ended thematic product agnostic offerings, which really allow for some flexibility, but also that opportunity to center your program around a particular theme. So lots of great options. Next, we're going to talk about the actual materials and which products and solutions could be a good fit for any of these offerings. So to start off with, just as a high-level introduction to the LEGO Learning System, what the LEGO Learning System constitutes is a combination of curriculum, the actual bricks, so the physical medium by which students are getting these hands-on learning experiences. In some cases, programming and intelligent hardware. So this is going to depend on whether you choose a digital or non-digital solution, but always the option and the opportunity for professional development to really support teachers and make sure that they feel comfortable and confident with facilitating these projects and hands-on learning lessons with students. So I'm going to start by looking at our technology enhanced solutions. We have many different early learning solutions, but today I'm really focusing on two, one that is technology enhanced and one that is unplugged. But if you specifically are developing a pre-KK summer program and you'd like more context as to all of the different early learning solutions that we offer for that space, that is absolutely something that your account manager can work with you to explore. So starting off with our technology enhanced solutions, we have Coding Express for our early learners. This set, as you can see, is essentially a train and train track. So students design the track. It could be a loop. It could have different forks in the track that they need to determine which direction the train goes. But really where the coding comes in is with these colored action tiles that students place on the track that commands the train to do different behaviors, different outcomes. So red is stop, blue is stop to refuel, green, I believe, is reverse. One of them, maybe the yellow, is to make a noise. So there's all of these different behaviors that the train can do based on the pattern that the students sequence those colored tiles in. So it's a way to practice physical computing and a way for students to understand that cause and effect relationship and that pattern between the sequence and the pattern that they create on the track directly correlates to the outcomes and the behavior of the train. So it's a really it's a great opportunity for students to practice coding concepts at an age appropriate level, which then sets the foundation for our elementary technology solution, which is Spike Essential. And I apologize, that is a typo. That is supposed to say grades 1 through 5. Spike Prime is our middle school solution for grades 6 and up. So the Spike sets are designed to be spiraled for a progression of learning where students are having the opportunity to practice coding and engineering concepts year over year over year. So in addition to all of the curriculum that I shared earlier, there's also lessons for these sets that are able to be used during the school year in the core classroom or in elective classes such as computer science, tech apps, STEM class, makerspace, all of the above. So Coding Express, Spike Essential, and Spike Prime, these are our technology enhanced solutions. And then next, I will be talking about our unplugged solutions. So with these, there's no computer, no battery. They are totally digital free solutions for those if you want that, unplugged experience. Because there's no technology, this might be a good option if you are on a real time crunch and you don't necessarily want to bring in that digital component as part of the summer program. Or if you have, limited devices, if you simply don't have a lot of access to whether it's Chromebooks or iPads or laptops, and you need an option that doesn't require the use of a secondary device, then this would be a great option because it is fully unplugged and doesn't rely on any technology. So Steam Park for pre-K and kindergarten, BrickU Motion Essential for middle or for elementary school, and BrickU Motion Prime for middle school. With the BrickU sets, BrickU Motion Essential and BrickU Motion Prime, these all have a focus on physical science and sports. So all of the different models that students build as part of this set are themed around different sporting activities and different examples of how physical science is connected to sports, whether it's the physics related to basketball or the relationship between mass and motion on an inclined plane. There's all sorts of physical science concepts that tie into this set, but it's an opportunity for students to practice scientific inquiry and make predictions and observations about the relationship between these different forces of motion. That is a very high-level explanation of our product offerings and how they can connect back to all of those different curricular options that we've been talking about. But I wanted to also end on a note on how we support teachers. So we have a really rich professional development offering that enables teachers to build their confidence in teaching across these 4 competency areas. So STEAM concepts, 21st century skills, pedagogy, and classroom management. And of course, product training, so familiarity with the actual sets themselves. But through this program, teachers are able to really not only practice the opportunity to facilitate hands-on lessons in a safe space and from a certified trainer who is able to lend their expertise and their best practices from their own experience using these solutions, but they're also able to put themselves in the shoes of the student. They're able to experience what it's like to be on the student side so that then they can take that with them as part of their experience using these solutions with students. So it's a great opportunity to build their confidence, build their skills, and give them an opportunity to really have confidence with facilitating hands-on learning using these solutions. We are just about wrapping up. The final thing that I'd like to end on is that We're talking about summer today, but these solutions are really versatile. And once you've made the investment in the sets, they are yours forever and they can be used in many different applications. These sets are a one-time investment. There's no recurring costs or licensing fees. So it's one upfront purchase rather than any sort of year-over-year licensing model. All of the lessons, all of the curriculum, the software is all free with your purchase. You can go on our website right now and access every single lesson that we've talked about today. The thing that you're making the investment in are the physical materials, which once you've purchased are yours forever and can be used across all of these different environments, whether it's STEAM labs, after school programs, core and elective courses. It can be integrated in a science classroom, or it can be used standalone to support a tech apps or computer science class. They can be used for family engagement nights, competitions, and of course, CTE and robotics programs. So they're super versatile and really lend a lot of flexibility in how you can use these materials once you have them in your school or district. I promised you that I would circle back to hearing from those teachers and also hearing from some students. So I'm going to end on a video that features some students and teachers from McKinney ISD reflecting on their experiences doing the Build to Launch program. So specifically of all of those curricular options that we talked about earlier, these students participated in using our Build to Launch curriculum. And so you'll hear from them what that experience was like for them.
If there ever was a time to rethink learning, now is the time.
Now is a time for us to be able to give back to our students.
Our students deserve to have authentic hands-on learning experiences.
Now is the time to be bringing joy back to learning.
Students have to connect with what they're learning, and through joy, they'll have meaningful experiences that will stay with them.
When we can tie what they're learning to the real world, that has a lot of power.
Build to Launch was very appealing because it has multiple levels of learning.
It felt like we were thrown into the NASA program for a week.
It gave us a chance to actually know how it is like to program robots.
They need to be able to connect themselves to these fields, and I felt Build to Launch did a fantastic job with it.
If they feel joy, they are intrinsically motivated. They are feeling more confident in themselves.
Great educators are always trying to figure out how to keep their students engaged and what we can do differently.
It definitely does not feel like school, but we are definitely learning.
If we want students to be problem solvers, we need to give them the opportunity to problem solve.
Some of their most learning came from failure.
In science, there is trial and error, and you need to find out what's wrong and fix it.
That's where the learning is, when they're willing to look at their work, find the flaw, and try again.
You're going to fail, but it doesn't matter as long as you come back.
It gave them an example, a real person saying, you can do what I did.
It inspired me to be a mechanical engineer for NASA.
I feel like anyone can join STEAM.
I do want to go to the moon, and I do want to go into space.
As a teacher, I feel so lucky. It takes one teacher at a time.
You feel like you can do anything.
I really love hearing from those teachers and students, and especially the students, just about how empowered and inspired the Build to Launch program made them feel. The student who talked about, I want to be a NASA engineer, and I felt like I was in the NASA program for a week. That level of empowerment that they talk about, I think is so meaningful and so important, and really is at the heart of why Lego Education, what we strive to do. So with that, I'm going to open up to any questions. All attendees are on mute, but if you want to raise your hand, I can unmute you, or you can feel free to enter any questions that you have in the chat and we can answer it that way. But I just want to thank you again for joining this morning, for listening, and I hope that you were able to take away something that maybe sparked an idea for something that you might want to do as part of your summer program. But I will stop talking and open up the floor to any questions. Mrs. Bright, I see your hand is raised. Let me see if I can unmute you. Okay, I have just allowed your mic, so you should be able to unmute.
Good morning. So the Build to Launch program is basically, it allows the students the hands-on, they're able to connect with the actual program. Those are your unplugged or your digital? Is that a part of your
So the build to launch modules, I believe that there's either 6 or 8, forgive me that that's not top of mind.
Okay.
But we have a series of modules, a series of challenges that all come with a video and then a corresponding activity. And it's not written for any one particular product. So you can use that program, you can use that curriculum with any of our Lego education solutions. I will say it works really, really well with Spike Prime. However, if Spike Prime is not the best fit for your program, that's something that you can work with your account manager on to determine what would be the best alternative based on how old your students are, whether or not they have previous experience with STEAM, these sorts of things.
Okay, and with the unplug is basically lesson plans, hands-on activities, but the digital is more of a you get a digital component, but it still comes with plans.
So the open-ended curriculum that I talked about, the build to launch, build the change, and rebuild the world, those could be used with any of our products, whether the BrickU Unplugged or the Spike Digital. They can be used with any of them. However, in addition to that, those sets also come with their own curriculum. So the lessons that are written specifically for that set, in the case of the technology enhanced solutions, you would need a device. You would need either a Chromebook or an iPad or a laptop. You would need a device so that you can access the software. And whereas the unplugged solutions, you don't need any device. It's totally, you don't even need a battery. And so that's the difference between the unplugged versus the technology enhanced. But the open-ended lessons, including build to launch, you could use with any of them. Those lessons are not written for one particular product. And so you could use the lessons with any of those sets. Whereas you could not use a Spike Prime lesson with the BrickU Motion set, because you wouldn't have the right parts and pieces to do the builds, and you wouldn't have the right technology. And vice versa. You could not do a BrickU Motion Prime physical science lesson with Spike Prime because you don't have the right parts and pieces to build the models. And so you can't mix and match the lessons across sets. You can't use a Spike lesson with BrickU Motion or vice versa. But for the open-ended lessons, for the open-ended curriculum, those can be used with any of our sets.
Okay, so the one with that connects to like NASA.
Yes.
It's the build to launch, and we can use it with any of the
That's
Spike. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
That's
and then correct. One more question: the Tough University partnership. Does the kids get like end of the completion of the challenges? Do they get a certificate or to show that they partner with Lego Education and this Tough University?
There's no official certificate through Tufts University. We do actually have a certificate like PDF that you can print and write the students' names in for many of our summer offerings. I don't know if we have it for the Tufts University materials, but I'm sure that our team would be willing to create one if that's something that you're interested in. But it wouldn't be, it's not like it's not something that you could like put on LinkedIn or something. It would just be a way for students to feel, that they've accomplished something special. But we do have completion certificates as part of our summer camps, for example, as well as for the Build to Launch program. And I think we could certainly develop them for the other programs if we don't already have them as well.
And with the Build to Launch, the NASA connection, is it included with some kind of field trip, or no? We just
No, I mean, if being that this is a Texas webinar, if you are within access of Johnson Space Center and you want to build that in as a field trip opportunity, that's certainly something that would be a really cool way to end on a field trip, end on a really nice connection point. But that's not something it's not part of our program. It's not something that's written into the program. But again, because some of you may be local to the Houston area, if you have the opportunity to make that connection, that would be really cool.
Okay, but this is the one that connects to more like the NASA. Because one of the elementary coordinators for our after-school program, really interested in the NASA. So I think this will be maybe a great opportunity. So
yeah, absolutely. And we can we'll follow up afterwards. Whoever your LEGO Education account manager is, we can connect one-on-one and make sure that you have all the information, you have links to all of the different lessons so that you can explore them. And again, make sure that we're recommending the right product to go with that Build to Launch program.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Do any other folks have questions? I'm happy to pull you off mute, or you can write your questions in the chat. I'm going to give one more moment for questions, but I am going to just circle back to this page that you can find all of our information for the whole Texas team. Our emails are on here. You can reach out to us directly with any questions, and to have sort of that one-on-one conversation about finding the best fit for your program. And I see that there's a question in the chat. Do you all have any resources for grants? So we ourselves, LEGO Education, we do not issue grants. However, we do have a guide that is sort of a resource and a reference to help with the grant writing process. And so Steph or Carrie or Caitlin, if I could ask one of you to drop that link in the chat, we can share that with you as a resource that can help you to find and pursue different grant opportunities. Thank you, Steph. Great question, Christina. Hey everyone, well, I will be on a few moments longer if you do want to hang back for any questions, but thank you all so much for joining us. I hope that this has been an informative and interesting session for you. I hope that you've come away with some ideas and inspiration for what you'd like to do as part of your summer programs, and that perhaps we could be part of that. So thank you for your time. Thank you for paying attention and listening, and for taking the time out of your day to join us.